Greetings everyone, and welcome to another edition of Citizens Corner, where we address some of your thoughts, concerns, questions, and whatever the heck else we feel like talking about. Of course, I am Jarvis, and with me as always is my bastion of common sense, Lightning Dragon. So let's go ahead and get into it. First of all, I'd like to mention a channel that was recommended to me by some of the subscribers here, Failure to Report, all one word, and I found his content so far very interesting. I like the fact that he's very forthright, very honest about the way he feels, and willing to tackle topics and things I feel in a way that a lot of people just aren't willing to do. Also, I want to thank everybody for the very positive responses that we've had over the video dealing with pacing. I kept trying to think of some way I could kind of demonstrate that and give you a feel for what I'm talking about. And I'm glad that almost all of you kind of grabbed the idea. It's kind of been a long, ongoing process to explain all this, and I'm glad you've been sticking with me through it. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the first question. The first question I have is from Michael Tarantolo. I hope the dynamic mission system is actually dynamic, as you see way too much with procedural mechanics in MMOs, where while a mission may have all these variables and everything changed, in the end, you are still accomplishing the same thing for likely the same reward. Yeah, I agree. I mean, if repetition really starts to set in, people are going to do, well, I hate grinding in games. I hate when games feel like you're just doing the humdrum. And if missions start to feel like that, I'll do anything else but do missions. But with as many ships as I already own, I really don't need to do missions anyway for the most part. It's not like I'm earning up for the next ship. But generally
that's
speaking,
not everybody.
Yeah, that's not everybody. Exactly. And I know that I have the escape route out of that, you know. But Lightning and I have played tons of games where, you know, it starts off really solid, but after you play it for a few weeks, you're like, wash, rinse, repeat, you know? And there's not enough variety there to keep it interesting. There really isn't. Even at games as good as Grand Theft Auto 5 before 2K got its hands on it, basically, you know, as fun as that game is, the missions are still basically wash, rinse, repeat. You can kind of expect one of three things when you pick up a quote-unquote random mission. So yeah, they really need to make sure it's dynamic.
The thing that was great about GTA is the size and scope and depth of the world, and like your interactions with your friends while playing it. The missions were just something to do while you were, you know, playing the game.
Right, and it was the random factors of the chaos of the NPCs and collisions and things that added spice to the missions. It wasn't the missions themselves. James Hanna said, since you mentioned trolling aspects of people intentionally flying their ships into others, I hope they implement a system that will limit accounts that indulge in this behavior to servers that are exclusively populated by griefers. Sort of a shadow ban where these trolls are inflicted upon themselves, covertly prioritized by their actions. That way, they still get the game they paid for, grieving other griefers to their tiny black heart's content, while they don't ruin the game that everyone else paid for. Yeah, and that's definitely one way to approach it. But I think griefers, you know, like people who do these kind of things, like for example, someone rams you with an Aurora or something like that, or any ship or something like that continuously, they keep doing this kind of stuff. I think eventually, like, we should just go ahead and take the Lloyd's of London approach, where basically, like, their insurance gets outrageously expensive. They're the only people that will actually insure you. You know, like, oh yeah, your ship gets blown up, well, you're covering 50% of the costs. You know, that kind of thing as well could absolutely just kind of mess up somebody really, really bad.
I think they actually mentioned that the devs themselves said that, you know, if you lose a lot of ships, your insurance rate would go up.
True, but this is more than just, you know, being unskilled and flying in asteroids. I mean, if someone's clearly a troll, then it's like all normal insurance companies cut ties to you. They treat you kind of like even worse than pirates would be insured, you know, in the outer rim sectors or whatever. They'll be like, this guy intentionally crashes his ships. I mean, even pirates don't do that. So yeah, you know, you're gonna have to go ahead and go through Lloyd's of London here and pay out the wazoo to get any insurance whatsoever.
125% insurance. Well, that's more than the ship. Exactly.
Yeah, something along those lines, you know, or whatever. But the point is, yeah, there should be some sort of punishment. I don't know if they're gonna do like a shadow ban, but I don't see why they couldn't, because if they wanted to do something like a PvP toggle or a PvP slider, there's no reason they can't have the jerk toggle or the jerk slider. So that would make
jerk slider.
Exactly. Do I want to play with jerks? Yes, no. So yeah, I mean, one of those things that I don't see that being a real problem for them to do. It's just another toggle or slider or whatever they decide on. David Bland said, Miles Eckhart is probably going to have a line a mile long waiting for a mission. Am I right? You could be. I remember one of the things that caused a lot of problems for Elder Scrolls Online when it first started was that it was like an MMO that punished people for playing together. Everyone kind of got stacked up trying to do the same. Like if you do a mission objective with other people in the team, it didn't count for them for anything. It was just NPC issues, getting quests and things like that. It was a mess. It was a mess. And in some cases, what was it? What's that game Ubisoft put out with the Division? When that game launched, people were literally forming lines to talk to one NPC to pick up a mission, and they actually organized to like be civil and take turns. So you had lines like out the building pretty much, where people just waiting for their chance to turn in the quest or pick up a new quest. And that was a severe mistake. So when Miles Eckhart is concerned, as much as it's kind of immersion breaking, remember in the demonstration where they were showing on the demo, like one person saw Miles Eckhart in the chair and the other person didn't. So the one person had to pick up the mission on the demo. In some regards, that would make sense. Like, okay, if your reputation isn't high enough, you don't see Miles Eckhart sitting in that chair. You just can't walk over and deal with that. And I think, frankly, if it's a mission giver and there's like for example, like Miles, there's a chair opposed across from where he's normally sitting, even if you don't see him, that chair shouldn't allow you to sit in it, unless you can see him and you got a mission from him. Because otherwise, you're going to get some dude sitting in that chair just all day, kind of waving at everybody, like, I can't get your mission. You know what'll happen. You know what'll happen.
Yes. The power of troll compels you.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's exactly what's going to happen. You're going to have, like when you pick up missions and people like that, you should not draw in other players. Because, what's going to happen is you're going to have some guy, like, standing behind you, like, doing the chicken dance behind Miles as you're picking up the mission.
What they could do... What they could do is they could make it, and I understand this is instancing, and a lot of people don't like instancing, but it has to happen to a certain level. If you had a mission zone or like a social zone or something, a place where you can go and pick up missions, you have an instance for your party. So if you're in the party of like 4 friends, you can all go to the bar, grab a couple missions, get a couple drinks, have fun, and it's mostly just going to be you guys there. Or maybe they can have expanded parties. So instead of having like a fighter party, you can have like a capital party, and you have like 12 people. So you can have a bunch of people in that bar, but they're all people that are playing together. Maybe 1 or 2 people that are getting missions. Everybody else is just kind of waiting, because otherwise, you're going to have it where there's like 500 people or whatever the instance max, because they're already going to have instances anyway. So if there's like 25 random people and you and your buddy are playing, and like 15 of those people are all in the bar, it's just going to be a clusterfuck.
Yeah, and also a gateway they can do to resolve it is reputation. You only get a mission from him at certain tiers or certain values of reputation. So, people who have play more or get reputation faster, they pick up their missions, they go, and it kind of filters out through. And also as well, having, while Miles does seem like a major focus, he's just one of what's going to be many NPCs like him in the universe. So if you add in something like reputation, a couple hundred Miles Eckhart kind of characters around the verse, it's going to spread it out quite a bit. So I think initially maybe in 3.0 it'll be an issue. I think as the game develops, it won't be so much of one. All right, and of course from Hammy, as long as the payouts are high enough to not be a grind, I'm fine. I don't want it to be like Grand Theft Auto 5, where they give you no good means of earning money, so they can milk you for shark cards. UEC shop. Oh boy, there's a can of worms right there. Tell you what.
It's funny that you mentioned the GTA 5.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I brought it up. I was thinking about this question, because yes, payouts have to be enough to not be a grind, absolutely. But also, forcing people to buy a UEC would be a terrible thing. But I'm going to go off on a tangent here. Just a little bit. I do apologize. I totally agree with your statement. But let's step into a game recently that's done something absolutely horrible that is exactly the game you talked about, Grand Theft Auto 5. 2K Games is screwed Grand Theft Auto 5. I mean, I admit Rockstar is great, but their parent company is absolutely just killing it. And they're just killing the game like with fire and pitchforks and everything. See, what they did recently is they had basically had a patch where they copied that Battlegrounds kind of style game, and what they did is they took millions and millions and millions of dollars.
Battlegrounds.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you. So they took millions and millions and millions of people's money out of their game account, and legitimately, people who had done it legitimately, like myself, they took almost $3 million out. Well, actually, no, they almost took $5 million out. And I hadn't done anything, any no modding, no hacking, nothing like that. We just play a lot. Lightning, they took They took like a little over $1 million from you.
Yeah, I think I lost like 1.9 million or something.
Okay, yeah, and my brother lost like almost 3 million. So the thing is, and my brother just plays, occasionally on the weekends.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, and there's no time ever that a modder's ever been in one of his games. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
Like the only time he plays is when he was playing with us. And, sometimes we played, but we'd only usually play just to get onto our private servers.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, I don't see. So they basically say, "Oh yeah, this money's been taken from you because of modding or cheating or something like that." I was like, when? So anyway, you look at the reviews now. There's like this one gentleman talked about how he bought like $400 in shark cards. Yeah. And then they turned right around and pulled all the money out of his account and said it because it was hacking. They basically went into his wallet, took $400 out, flipped him the bird, and walked out of his house. And this is one of the reasons that Lightning and I have kind of stopped playing GTA 5, and I've sworn off 2K from now on. I don't care. Red Dead Redemption comes out, whatever. I'm not buying it.
It's funny you mentioned Red Dead because I just watched the trailer, the gameplay demo trailer. It's a bullcrap trailer, is what it is. And it's
these companies are getting greedy. They're getting greedy. I mean, microtransactions, lockboxes, loot boxes, all this stuff like that, they're getting greedy out their ass. And if CIG goes down that road, I don't think it. I think eventually there's going to be a reckoning. Either what's going to happen is that players or gamers are going to flat out not buy games from these companies, or eventually the government's going to step in some way or form and say lockboxes are gambling, gambling's illegal in this state or whatever, you can't do it. Because basically it is gambling. That's what it is. And there's going to come to be a time where someone goes too far and there'll be legislation dropped on every one of them. Because, there's people who they get like mobile games, like things on their phone, and they'll spend thousands and thousands of dollars on a mobile game that is not even very deep, but they just don't want to wait for the next turn or pay for some special clothing article or whatnot. There is going to be a crackdown. And if I was Star Citizen, I would stay away from that kind of thing. I understand the idea of selling UEC, mostly because if they don't, someone else will, right? And it's better that they control the flow. Otherwise, they're just giving money out to some third-party person and creating. You'll be getting a lot of spam in the game, basically. Where
Chinese gold farmers.
Yeah, basically. So that's what would happen. You'd be sitting there doing whatever in the verse, and you'll get your typical email or spam text of, "We got the best gold in town, blah 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 blah, for this amount." You've seen them before. So I have no problems with them just selling that to kind of cut them off at the knees. But yeah, the game shouldn't be a grind to the point that becomes the preferable option. When your game is boring or not interesting enough or too grindy that you actually have to pay a company not to play the game, that's not a good thing. You want people to want to play the game, not pay you to not play the game, which is essentially what buying money in the game is. You don't want to play the game, you just want the rewards, because for some reason, if you find the game that unsatisfying, my recommendation is just find another game, honestly. If it comes to that point. Or at least make some sort of stink about it so that, the devs have to take notice, like this channel. He's like, we get more views here than forum views, so it's one of those things that, that's my way of circumventing a lot of the BS that goes on there. All right, guys. Well, I think it's about everything for this week's Citizens Corner, or maybe it was Tangent Corner this week. But we had
a little bit of Tangent Corner, but that's what it's for.
That's what it's for. Yeah, we're allowed. Sweet. All right, guys. Well, we will go ahead and see you on the Blastcast 101, and we will catch you next time.
And again, thank you everybody who watches it. It's really great to be able to do this kind of stuff. Bye bye.
Absolutely. Later.